Oh, what's up, everybody? Just doing another Death Probes Inc. episode here on Longbox Crusade. I'm Jarrod, Alberich, the yard sale artist, and I'm just going to be doing another one of these panel recreations that I've been doing. I've been having a lot of fun with those lately, so I'm going to be working on one today. And feel free to join me and stop in and say hello in the chat. I'm doing a panel from a Dracula book that I'm actually currently reading, and it's kind of interesting because I'm reading Bram Stoker's Dracula, or Stoker's Dracula, by Roy Thomas and Dick Giordano. It's really cool. It's got really, really cool artwork, and come to find out, this is a reprint from a magazine that Marvel did in the 70s, 1973, called Dracula Lives. And they had like a couple of short ones in each of the magazine. They've sort of collected them into this 4 issues, issue 1 of 4. And I found a panel in there that I really liked that I'm going to work on a panel recreation on my usual 5.5 by 7 Bristol paper. So yeah, join me if you like and ask any questions you would like in the chat. What up to Heinz Cook? Always stops by to say hello. I appreciate that, Heinz. And what up to JT showing up in the chat once again. Always nice to see you guys. So yeah, we're going to be working on a little bit of Dracula stuff today. Just this one panel I saw. It's super simple, as I'm sure you guys will see or are already seeing. It's a super simple panel. But I just really like it. It really just sort of stood out to me as I was reading. I was literally reading this book today. And everybody who's ever watched me do one of these before or listened to me complain about stuff in public, you'll know that my least favorite part of inking is the template work. So I always do it first. So we are going to start with the template work, which means rulers and any other templates I might need. But I think this one will only require 5 ruler lines. So this is what Jarrod's doing on his Hip and Happening Friday night. But I really have enjoyed doing these panel recreations. You're absolutely right, JT. The necessary evil of the template work or ruler work. Ruler work doesn't bother me. Well, none of it really bothers me. It's all part of the deal. But of all the templates to use, ruler is probably my favorite, or maybe the circle. Once we get into French curves, things start getting a little crazy. As usual, I'm working with my Sharpie No Bleed pen because I like the way it doesn't bleed into the paper. I'm going to switch over to this Copic Multiliner 0.5 pigment ink pen to do the lettering work. And I'm not positive, but I was looking at the credits on the book, and I think that Giordano, because if you look at the credits of the book, it just says Roy Thomas, like writer, and art is Dick Giordano. And I think when it says that, a lot of times means he did like literally all the art. Like he did his own pencils, his own inks. This book has a fair amount of gray wash to it. And I wonder if he's also doing his own letters, because there was no letterer credited either. So I don't know if Giordano did the lettering as well. That's what I would guess, but they may have just had an uncredited letterer for all I know. Speaking of letter, I'm gonna go press down real firmly on the word throat, because I noticed it is a little bolder in the book, slightly bolder. It says, "Till I felt her hot breath on my throat." As usual, I'll be doing a one color enhancement on this. And if you haven't figured out that it's going to be blood red already, I don't know what to tell you, because it's going to be blood red. And since Giordano did so much ink wash on this, I'm going to be using a couple of grays as well. I'm going to use a light gray and a dark gray in a couple of places to kind of mimic what he did in the artwork in the book. So that should be fun. But again, it's a pretty simple panel. But I just like, as I was reading today and I saw it, I thought, man, it's very striking. It's a very tense moment. It's I really liked the sensuality of the lips, and I just knew that they would look good with the one color enhancement when I get to that blood red. So I just knew that, yeah, this is going to work real well with the crimson red and the black and white and the grayscale. Well, at least that's what I'm hoping. I'm confident it'll look nice, but we will find out. You're right, JT. It is spicy. So spicy that I learned that this was, again, this was in a magazine that Marvel owned called Dracula Lives. And I was reading in the back of the comic version, it's got like this sort of like behind the scenes stuff with, I think Roy Thomas wrote it. And I learned some cool stuff, like because the Comics Code Authority, you couldn't have like the vampire stuff and the werewolf stuff and all that. And so that's why they did it in the magazine, because it wasn't a comic book. It was a magazine. Like, it was weird, these sort of loopholes that they had to use. Thought that was kind of fascinating. Interesting stuff. That's how they had to dodge the old Comics Code Authority back in the day. And so you would get, not like the sharpness of that one bit. I don't know why I pulled that out. Let's see if I can't find a, yeah, this Sharpie Extreme is much sharper. It's this one. The things they had to do. And it's kind of funny, you know, they were getting around the Comics Code Authority, you know, to tell sort of the most classic of you know, literature tales. I mean, it's not like this is I mean, certainly Dracula is a little bit spicy and a little bit cutting edge for its time, but you know, it's hardly the worst thing ever, and especially in 1973, it was hardly the worst thing ever. But you know, that's just how it goes sometimes. And I know I mention this on every one of these I do, but I think it bears repeating. I just find it sort of both soothing and entertaining, especially as an inker, to sort of blow up these panels, spend a little time with them, thinking about line weight and, you know, putting a little more time in it than the original artist uh, was able to. You know, Dick Giordano is an incredible artist, and I'm sure he would have loved to spend, you know, an hour or 45 minutes or whatever on a piece like this. But you got to crank out the book, right? You got to get the pages done. So I'm sure he's flying through it, and he's just making beautiful art that I am fortunate enough to be able to spend a little time with when I do these things. It is just kind of fun to play in this space, this little small moment in time comic book space. Just really like doing this. Yes, JT in the chat points out that's why Morbius had to be called the living vampire. So you couldn't have actual vampires or something. It was weird. It was weird. Comic code stuff was weird back in the day. But it's certainly fun to play with it now. I'm not gonna lie, this is good times right here. So those of you who know your Dracula pretty well might know that this is the scene where he meets sort of the vampire brides for the first time, where he falls asleep in a part of the castle that he's not supposed to be in, and he wakes up to find the beautiful yet terrifying vampire women. And one of them wants to take a bite out of him. One of them thinks it's best to take a bite out of what's his name? Harker, I think is his name. You'd think I would remember since I literally read issue 1, which I think had the first 4 serialized, because they're just straight up. It's a straight up adaptation of the Bram Stoker's novel. Yeah, I think this was in the fourth one. I jotted down where it was from. Let me take a look. Where's my notes? Where it's originally from is Dracula Lives number 7. Number 7. And again, that was 1973. Oh, JT in the chat says he has that issue. I don't have the original. Like I said, I've got the what I do with it. Yeah, I did. I got the. I just picked up the reprints. They did it in 4 issues. Apparently, I think in 2004 they put it all into a 4-issue series. Cool covers, and there's the panel that caught my eye, and I thought, yeah, I want to do that one today. So that's what we're gonna do. But yeah, I don't have the original magazine ones. I just have the 04 re-releases, and got a great deal on them too. I got them up at Second and Charles a couple months ago. At Second and Charles, they did a sale where they had like a huge section of stuff that they'd brought over, a bunch of comics, and they did them for 50 cents each. So I got all 4 issues for $2, and I'm not going to complain about that. Oh, JT says he's going to go dig it out. Go dig it out, man. That'd be really cool. I love magazine size comics in general. I just really gravitate towards them. Like, one of the most bizarre sort of prized possessions of my collection. It's not particularly valuable or anything, but I have all the Tomb Raider. They did the Tomb Raiders in a magazine size when they did the Tomb Raider by Image back in, what was it, like early 2000s, and they did a 50-issue run, of which I have them all fancy hardbound, and I love that. But I'm actually more proud of, I think they did, I'm trying to remember how many issues of Tomb Raider magazine they did. It's somewhere around 9, 10, 12. It's less than 12, I want to say. Anyway, I tracked them all down. It's just cool because it's the same comics. Each magazine one, I think, has 2 issues of the standard comic that they did. But what's kind of cool about it is it's, it's magazine size. So you get the art kind of at a bigger size. And again, I am just a sucker for magazine format. I love it. JT says he's got some of that Tomb Raider mags with the Adam Hughes covers. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. It was cool. I got to meet not the first artist on the book, but the second artist who took over around issue, I don't know, 5 or 6. Tan. I can't remember his first name. But when I was doing Dragon Con this past year, he was there. And that was really cool. I brought him my fancy hardcover, and he was like, "Oh, this is cool," and he signed it, and he drew a little sketch of Laura inside the front cover for me and everything. It's Billy Tan, almost positive. And that was a really cool experience. What a nice guy. I mean, I because I'm also on the floor as an artist, I was like hitting him up like as soon as the doors were opening, trying to get him before the crowd started to come in. So I was like, "Hey, man," sort of like ambushed him. He was like, yeah, sorry to scare you, but I wanted to get this done before the crowds got here. If you wouldn't mind signing my Tomb Raider hardcover." And since it was custom hardcover and he'd never seen it before, creators kind of, for the most part, I've noticed they get very interested and they like to spend a little time flipping through it. So that was a cool experience. That same Dragon Con, I got to chat with Sam De La Rosa, and he signed my fancy hardcover of Indiana Jones comics, because he was an inker for a couple issues, somewhere in the first dozen or so. And so that was fun. And he was really quite taken with it. He was with seeing the fancy hardcover. He was like, man, he asked if I could take a picture of him, with his phone holding it. And it was really cool. He was clearly into it, which made it all worthwhile. Nice guy. A lot of fun. Well, this panel is starting to work out, ladies and gentlemen. It is starting to work out. I even kept, there's this little tick, I'm inking it right now, this tiny little tick, whoop, right there. I suspect that might have actually been a mistake in the panel, like just a quick accident on a line nub, because it doesn't make a ton of sense in the drawing. But I was like, if I'm going to recreate it, I'm going to recreate it. And it doesn't throw the piece off by any means or anything. When I was looking, I was like, I wonder if that was just a tiny little oopsie that he didn't white out, or maybe he intended it. I don't really know. I don't know what Mr. Dick Giordano was thinking at the time. It's not, like I said, it's just the tiniest little thing, and so I don't know if it's an oopsie or if he fully intended it. I have no clue. Well, we are almost done with the black and white portion, and then I'll come in and do some grayscale with my markers. And this panel is working out. I mean, half the lifting is done when you're recreating a genius like Giordano. I had little doubt it would work out because he's the man. Yeah, it's all coming together. Hey, Rick Heineken in the chat. What up, Rick, over there on the Facebook? Good to see you, man. You baking any pies today, bro? Is Rick baking any pies today? We'll find out on this episode. All right. Grab my reference here. Having some Dracula fun today. I probably should have saved this one for October or something, but I'm gonna come in with this and get rid of that little piece there bothering me. I'm gonna get rid of some of the pencil work there because I want to come in with this grayscale. I'm using a real light gray, a 20% gray. I can't remember if it's a French or a cool gray. It's a warm gray, 20% warm gray. I'm trying to emulate a bit of what Giordano did in the original art. I think he used an ink wash, which is cool. So it's got a lot of neat layers to it that I like. And yeah, this area down here around the shoulder, kind of all ink wash. So I'm gonna get rid of some of the pencil lines. Bring that in. Okay, so JT did verify that I'm not crazy, and I didn't see any credit for the letterer in the book. I wonder. I mean, obviously, it has to be one of two things. It either the whoever lettered the book just never got credit, which, you know what, I'm starting to believe option 2, which is that Giordano just did it himself, because I have the reprints, as we talked about. I'm working off the 2004 collected reprints, which are really, really cool, really done well. And you would think, maybe they didn't credit the letterer in the original one in 1973. But when you get to the reprint, by 2004, the companies were generally pretty good about crediting everyone who worked on it. So I'm starting to lead towards that it was Giordano doing the letters himself. Wouldn't surprise me. Have no paperwork to back that up. It's very funny. It's very funny, Rick. Dracula, that sucks. That's funny. Because he's a vampire, see? It's because he's a vampire. But yeah, if you ever get a chance to check out the Dracula Lives magazine, which it sounds like my man JT's got handy over there, or the reprints called, I think it's called Stoker's Dracula from 2004, you will see some really, really nice work in there by Giordano. And of course, you got to credit Roy Thomas too, because he wrote it. He had a hand in it, but man, yeah, it's flipping fantastic, no doubt. So yeah, I'm adding just a 20% warm gray to emulate what I suspect he did was an ink wash with brushwork. That's what I think Giordano did, especially since it was 1973 and there wasn't none of that fancy computer art going on. I think he ink washed it. I'm just now realizing that this, it's very light, but this, he has this going up a little further than I do. I'm going to make that match a little better. Yeah. All right. Then I'm going to go over to the 50% French gray, because in Giordano's work, he's got his ink wash where I put it, and then he's got in the background, he's got an even darker gray in this space here. He used a darker ink wash, which, by the way, just for funsies, I do keep on hand. I have this is a jar of ink wash that I keep on hand for when I'm doing my watercolors. And so is, if I can get it without knocking everything over, this one, and this one's darker. That's why I wrote dark on the label. So the first one I showed you is sort of a medium to light ink wash. And then this one is the dark one. Let's see. JT said, have you ever tried doing something like this over Gene Colan? No, I haven't. Now, this is only the 5th one of these that I've done. 5th or 6th, and I've just been doing them for fun. A couple people picked up some of the ones that I did. They bought them right off the live stream, but these are the 2 I still have left and available if anybody wants them. But yeah, no, this is only my 5th one. But I wouldn't mind getting around to a Gene Colan. Met him many years ago before I was actually in the business, just at a con as a fan. And he was super nice to my nephew and did a sketch for him in one of his books of Doctor Strange. And we got to talk with him for a bit. I think he signed my Blade DVD, because if I remember correctly, he's the co-creator of Blade. This is many years ago, so forgive my bad memory. JT will remember better than I will. And chatted for a while about how different the Blade movie was than what he and Wolfman had originally done. But he wasn't like a bitter old man about it or anything. It was just a fun conversation. Okay, so emulating his gray wash there with the dark ink. Hey, Dave. Thanks for checking in over there on Facebook. Oh, and there's Kathleen as well. I think Kathleen says she's going to the movies today. I think they're re-releasing Lord of the Rings, the first one. I think she's going to see the extended Lord of the Rings. Rick's on fire with the jokes in the chat today, which I will not repeat, but I do find them funny. But hey, what up to Dave Martell? And I gotta next week's my trip, Dave. So next week I should be able to give a listen to your podcast that you were telling me about. So that will be fun. In fact, you can mention it here in the chat, and I'm happy to let anybody else who's here know about it. All right. So bringing in my one color enhancement, which I knew from the moment I saw this panel was going to be these lips. This is my own addition to the whole process because, again, the red that I'm doing now was done by Giordano in grayscale. This would have just been gray. So just, if I'd used the same grays, light grays that I did earlier, would have made it, more official. But as those of you who've been watching know, I like to do a one color enhancement of somewhere. And as soon as I saw this panel today, I was like, you know what? I want to draw that panel. And then I thought, yeah, I'm going to use red. And it's going to be on those lips. And it's going to make the whole thing pop. And I think I was right about that because I like how this is working. Just a little bit more rounded here. And there we go. There we go. All right. So Kathy says, yes, it is the 25th anniversary of, 25th anniversary. Goodness, it's been that long. Lord of the Rings. And she's going to that. I guess she's at the theater now, maybe watching on her phone before a movie comes on. And there's Jim the Joe Junkie. He said he just came in from snow blowing and found me doing another live panel. You guys are the best. I appreciate you coming in and saying hey and all that jazz. That's really cool. It makes this a lot more fun. Okay, now comes the time when I put the information on here. So I'm going to do a from Dracula lives 1973. Oh, let me back that up a bit. I forgot to put the issue number on there. Let me put number 7. There we go. 1973. And Roy Thomas, Dick Giordano. And as per my usual, I will do a little bit of fanciness on the information block. Then I will find my number 8 micron. Okay, Dave's podcast is a G.I. Joe RPG podcast, role-playing game podcast, and it's G.I. Joe RPG Stories, and it's on YouTube. I'm glad you mentioned it was on YouTube, Dave. I think I might have not caught that the first time we chatted about it. Dave, so it's a G.I. Joe RPG Stories on YouTube. That's Dave Martell's. He's my friend from Canada. We've podcasted some Joe over on Aaron Moss's Real American Headcast, so please give him a try on that if you're into it. And yes, Rick, we came, we saw, and we turned into freaking vampires. And Kathy says her movie starts at 7, so she's got a little time. She's got a little over an hour. Now, where do I want to sign this bad boy? Where do I want to sign it? I think I will do this one right over here. There we go. And there we have another one of my panel recreations. I hope you enjoyed it. And, and Rick in the chat says this podcast is exactly the same as David's, except not an RPG and not about G.I. Joe, because Rick's is unpacking the power. Power Pack is Power Pack. Don't stop. If you want a Power Pack podcast, he's the guy to talk to. Unpacking the power of Power Pack. So that will about do it for this one. Yeah, this was the shortest one, as I figured. I mentioned this panel was very simple. And so this one only took about 35 minutes, and the other ones took about an hour. So, yep, there is Dracula by Roy Thomas and Dick Giordano from Dracula Lives, number 7, 1973, magazine comic. And this has been fun. I've appreciated everybody in the chat. I'll do the usuals and mention that you should check out anything Longbox Crusade. Our podcasts are a lot of fun. Our live streams are a lot of fun. So you can find everything you want Longbox Crusade right here on YouTube. Or if you're more of a podcast person, we're available on all those apps as well. And, of course, I'm at Yard Sale Artist on X, Facebook, and Instagram. And Longbox Crusade is at Longbox Crusade on, like, everything. So that is that. I will get this one put up on social media for sale. See if anybody wants to nab this one. I appreciate everyone who came in today to chat with me while I did this. And I will catch everybody soon. Just imagine that I'm acting frozen on my end. Okay. So I'm acting frozen. Thanks again for being here. You guys are the best.